Hello guys. As you know, I'm playing along with Lisa from Lisa My Eclectic Life, making a LapBook, and the last couple of weeks she has worked on this pullout. It is got 4 panels. I think it's 7 sets of pockets. Let me find something to put in the pockets. I have left mine a little bit different than hers, and I have used cardstock when sometimes she used envelopes, but part of that is because of the way I am decorating my papers and not using paper sheets of paper to do it. So it's working better for me to do that way. I'm really liking this pullout. It came out real well. I'll show them all to you and so you can see them. This envelope has a pocket, a little pocket there, has a pocket there, and then I left it as a tuck in the side. This one is fabulous. It has 6 or 5 different pockets that are angled like so. And this one has a side there, and you can put in from there. Then we have this. Now on this pocket, Lisa did not put the second pocket on top, and she tore hers. And I have not done any real decorating yet, so mine are just, they're just, the pockets are ready. But I just added an extra pocket in here. So then I did, she did like 3 of these slot pockets, and I only did 2. Once you start putting things in there, the papers will get an attitude where they function a little better. So then when you pull this out, you end up with another whole set of pockets this way. So this one, Lisa did a full, like a waterfall with envelopes, and I had to use cardstock for this. And then because mine are cardstock, I went ahead and left them open on the side, so you can put things in from the sides of this. And then the last one is this. It is I left it as a tuck, but then the pocket opens up here at the top, like so. Now, Lisa brought her string from the bottom and up and around, and I decided that I wanted to put it in from the top, and you'll see me do that, so you can see the little bit of difference that I did. Anyways, guys, so let's get busy and make all this pull-out and pockets, and I'll show you everything. Hopefully it won't bore you to tears. Have a great day. Watch it and enjoy. Okay, we're going to get started, and I did speed this video up a lot. I did not want you to watch, but I chose to use some cardstock for several things I'm going to do, and what I did was did my I have 4 different books I'm using, and I'm just doing a collage kind of thing with matte medium. This is where I just trimmed off the excess of the cardstock, and I am sorry for speeding it up, but guys, there was almost 4 hours of video here. I've taken out as much as I could and sped up as much as I could. I think this looks like a lot like newspaper. That's why I just love it. I needed to measure to know how big the panels were going to be, and I always have to write myself a note. I measure, and then I took off about a ½ inch each direction so that the panels were not, so it's not too tight in my book. I did do my collage on those cardstock pieces in 2 different directions, some vertical, some horizontal. I've used more of the horizontal papers than I use the vertical papers. I didn't know for sure what Lisa was going to do when I started. I knew I was going to need them. And I'm just cutting 4 equal panels right now. Lisa used different size panels, I think. I'm not sure, but I just used 4 equal ones. And I'm just checking to make sure that they fit and how it's going to pull out. So you notice that I only did one side. The other's gonna happen here in a few minutes. Lisa put her panels together with packing tape. Now she is laying sheets of really pretty paper and book pages in as her decoration. And since I'm doing that Mod Podge collage thing, I I have to be able to Mod Podge over it. Well, packing tape does not like to have stuff stick to the top of it, believe it or not. So I decided I needed to use Tyvek. I had a Tyvek envelope that came in with something in it, and I have just cut it up in strips. I had them about a quarter of an inch apart. I went back to about an eighth of an inch apart. The quarter inch just looked too big. So, and I'm taping them down like that because I wanted to try to get it all done in one fell swoop. It did not hold together very well. I put glue along the very edge and in a little bit. The biggest thing about gluing something down is you want to make sure the edges are glued. You see my washi tape didn't stick, so there I'm putting glue along the edge of the Tyvek. That art glitter glue works very well. There is usually a link in my description down below for it. Lisa has used it for ages and talked so highly of it. I finally decided to buy myself a bottle of it, and I really do like it. Anyways, I decided I was going to have more than one piece of tape. That tape just did not want to stick. So, and you see, I put the Tyvek way out. Well, I'm going to come back in here in a few minutes and cut it off. Honestly, I like this pullout better than the one I made with the file folder. I think the Tyvek strips bend better than the file folder does. So in the future, rather than having a card that has to be bent, I will probably cut it and do this because I really did like it better. Now see, there's where I'm going to cut the tabs off. You can't have any sticking out there. And I did use a card and make sure it was really well stuck together. I had one more to get in there. Sorry, probably could have cut this one out. I really wish I could glue that fast. I think this is the second project I have done with that one envelope. So when you get a Tyvek envelope, it lasts a long time. It'll do quite a few things. I didn't need big pieces of it, just nice strips that. But the Tyvek, the Mod Podge will stick to, where the packing tape it does not stick very well. And since I am collaging the book pages, I started to tell you I am using 4 different books because of the color of them. It had nothing to do with what they were, but it was more about the color of them. Okay, so there I am showing you how that's going to fold out in there. And I'm trying to decide which way I wanted it to pull. And I think I ended up, yeah, okay. I marked the back of that one because there's no need for me to collage all over the back of that one. It was going to be glued down. So here we are. We're going to collage the back side now. And hopefully I won't make you watch the whole thing. One of the things I did find in this collage process is that some of the book pages are very brittle, and I had chosen those book pages because of the color. So what I had done is make sure that when I have to bend something, I use the book pages that are not so brittle. It just eliminated the problems. Okay, there you go. I didn't make you watch the whole thing. Now I realized that the Tyvek was showing and it was really bothering me and I didn't like the way it looked. So I went back and I had some nice long strips of the one music paper book page and I just covered up those little lines with that. So now the front and the back, except for the one panel, will be covered with my collage papers. Okay, and of course we must ink all the edges. Okay, and I know that that says timber brown, but for some reason my timber brown is green. So, okay, so we're going to get started here, and I'm going to work on the slot pockets that Lisa made. Now, I cut the strips are about 1.5 inches wide, and they're just, I don't know exactly, they're a little bit, about 1/2 inch less than the width of my page because I wanted some nice wide slots. I'm measuring the center and finding the center of my little paper. And okay. Oh, I was watching Lisa while I was doing that. I must have had to tell her something. Sorry about that. I am trying to do this as Lisa does it, but sometimes because of the collage stuff I'm doing, I have to stop and I can't continue. That's one of the reasons why the videos show up so much later. I'm also having to go back in and do voiceovers. So what I did is I put a line down the center of my little piece of paper that I had rounded with a corner rounder, and then I put it a line 1/8 of an inch on each side so that I could cut a 1/4 inch slot. So I went in with my big crocodile and I punched the holes. Well, the crocodile is not a 1/4 inch hole and I didn't like it, so I went back and got my little hand punch and over punched so that I got a bigger hole. And now what I'm going to do is, since I put the line down the center and a line 1/8 of an inch out on each side, I'm going to cut on that 1/8 of an inch line. What am I looking for? Oh, I was looking for the metal ruler, of course. And I know people say, well, Tanya, that metal ruler's got uh, uh, cork on the back so that it will not slip. Well, the problem with it is the cork raises the metal edge up to where your knife point slides under it. So I use the metal ruler upside down. I know that that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that makes the metal go all the way to the paper, and therefore my knife blade does not slide under it. Okay, I was happy with it, so now we got to ink it, of course. And I have tried everything to keep um, a sponge from falling apart. I've tried felt, I've tried sponges. That felt was just falling apart again, so I got a makeup sponge. That stays on ink, just eats the sponges. Either that or it's something I'm doing, I'm not sure, but I end up with little sponge pieces all over. So um, before it's all over this video, I will have gotten out another little round thing. I must have been watching something Lisa was doing. I was behind a little because, you know, it takes me a while to get all my pieces. So this is what I decide. This is where I'm going to put them. And I went ahead and glued them down before I punched the holes. And I'm just centering it up. I just used the center ruler to make it line up where I could get a straight line and the center. And now I'm just cutting out the back layer of this. You want a nice sharp point if you're going to try to cut around that circle. And realize too, this is Mod Podged on top of cardstock. So there is, oh, and that was a little piece where it was caught in the Tyvek. Ta-da! Now I have a hole. Just cleaning it up. But I'm cutting through layers of Mod Podge book paper and cardstock, so it takes a little bit of oomph to cut through that. You want to make sure your knife blade is sharp. And take your time. Don't try to do it at the speed that I'm doing it at the moment, because needless to say, I have sped this video up. Okay, I'm happy now. Yay! Okay, we're going on to the next pocket, I believe. Oh, did I find a little spot where it's not glued down? Okay, so now we're going on to the next pocket. This is an envelope pocket. And unfortunately, you don't see me make the whole pocket at one time because I have to collage my papers onto it. But we've cut open the top of the pocket, the top of the envelope, so that now we have a pocket there. And then we're going to fold it down because we're going to create a flap. And I, of course, have to collage my papers on there. So I put wax paper down inside of the envelope. And that means that it won't, if the paper gets wet, it won't stick to the other side. Plus, it lets me collage my paper right up to the edge of the envelope and not worry about the matte medium or the Mod Podge going over the top. I use a mixture of Mod Podge and Elmer's Glue All. I like the elasticity of the Mod Podge, and the Elmer's Glue All or PVA glue. It makes it so that pages and things don't stick together. Mod Podges can be, even with a shiny coat, even though it's a matte coat, it's pretty shiny, and it therefore this just works real well. Must have decided there was a spot. And of course, we're going on to the next pocket. And this pocket is one that is just folded from book paper. And I'm not exactly happy with what's going. I'll show you in a minute. Um, well, I actually may have cut that out. Lisa actually tore hers at the top, and I just really wasn't happy with that idea. So it just didn't fit with what I was doing in my book. So I decided that I would make the pocket. Oh, I've picked up another paper. I'm going to make a second pocket to layer over it. And part of it was because Lisa used a really pretty book page, and I'm using this collaged element. And so what's happening is that I have to have um, the colors, and what I'm looking at is the color. The white paper just was too stark. So by putting a second little pocket over the top of it, um, it ended up where I was happy with it. And of course, my book papers that I'm using, a couple of them are very, very fragile. So I have to use the ones that are not. Here's where I'm gluing my book paper, my pockets together. And I have Lisa tore hers at the top, which is really pretty in what she's doing, but I haven't been, I don't know, it didn't fit right with what I was doing. So I ended up using my circle punch and doing a half circle out of the top for the thumb spot. And because the book paper is not real sturdy, and because everything else in my lap book is Mod Podge because of the layers, I decide I'm going to Mod Podge these pockets on the front. That will also strengthen the paper a little bit. And so I just put a layer of Mod Podge on it. I didn't collage anything or anything like that. I just put a layer of Mod Podge. I will come back and show you how these go into the fold out in a little while. So now they're Mod Podgy and all wet, and I have to let them go. We're going on to the next pocket now. And I believe this is where she did the book pages, and they're folded down at an angle and then layered one over the top of one another. Um, she did sort of a waterfall kind of thing, and I knew that wasn't going to work, so I'm just using layers, and I'm just going to layer them up like that. And I just folded them up at the right length. So I just layered them in and then folded them up, and at the fold line, I started working with it. Here's my fold line, and that's my first little um, corner that goes on that one. I had to cut out some bulk. This is what I showed you just a second ago. That bulk right in there, it's just too much. Almost folded it the wrong direction. Now, once we get down a little ways, we realize that you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to keep going and fold that last one. So now I decide it looks kind of funny, and I'm not sure what's wrong. So I go in and I actually folded an extra one, thinking that maybe that would make it work right. Well, I wasn't. You'll see, I'm going to change it. But you go in and you glue these folds down, okay? And that just there again, I'm having to work with the book pages that are not brittle, so I've used all the same ones. You'll see in a little while I end up not liking it. I did cut the extra bulk off the back. So there we go. I have my pockets, and there's an extra one on the right hand side at the top. I end up taking it out later. But there again, everything in my book is Mod Podge, so I went in and I Mod Podged all of these pages. It just is going to add some strength to them too. So it's the layer Mod Podge is just, it's really so it looks like everything else, but it's also about the extra pages. Okay, we've gone on to another pocket, and I am going to use my cardstock now. I've decided that the book papers just are not sturdy enough for this particular pocket. And this is the one, like I said, Lisa made a waterfall. I cut 4 layered sheets of cardstock for this one. And I'm rounding the corners right now. I really like how this one came out. It's very waterfall-like and very, it's a great pocket. I love it. I am inking all the edges. Boring, boring stuff. And then I decide that I want just the right hand and bottom glued down. So I am going to just put those 2 pieces together. I like a combination of the double-sided tape and glue for my pockets. So that's what I'm doing there is I'm putting the double-sided tape on, and I will go back and add glue as I go to put the things down. With double-sided tape, if you score it, it really comes off a whole lot better. So I'm just gonna glue one piece at a time, and I'm just gonna layer them up. This was a fun pocket to make. I must have forgotten what I was doing. Either that or I'm listening to something she's saying. I was behind too because of playing with the Mod Podge, so I'm trying to catch up. Okay, we get to put this one in. Yay! We get to actually put this one right in. So okay, and I decided to put it off to the side, and I've left the side one side open, so I'll put it off to the other side. For one thing, with all the cardstock, it makes the pockets tight, and leaving the side of it open helps to make it a little more flexible. Okay, we're back to this pocket, and of course, because it is a folded up envelope, it needed some Mod Podge on it. It needed some more papers on it, actually, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just Mod Podging that piece so that where you fold it up, it will be right. And here's where I decide I do not like this. I just don't like it. First off, that bulk down there is just in the way, so I cut it off. I know I can lay it on one at a time. The reason I don't like it is because it's all the same color, and the whole rest of my book has the multiple colors from the multiple book pages. So while these book papers are not very sturdy for folding, they'll be fine Mod Podged on. So what I have to do is I Mod Podge this all down, all nice and neat, get it stuck real well. I'm going to do that to 3 out of the 5 pieces. So I left 2 of them white, and the other 2, 3, I put 1 each of my other book pages on. And I did go back and Mod Podge the front of that. I don't think I show you in the video, but I made sure that it looked just like everything else. It was Mod Podge down. I had too much Mod Podge, so I grabbed a cardstock and just put the Mod Podge down, and can't waste it. So I know I'll need more of this cardstock before we finish. I have 2 more sections to build. Okay, so now I'm going to work on my pockets. And what I'm doing is I'm punching out little round circles to make the little tabby thing that holds the envelope closed. And on my last pull out, I used 3 layers of that craft cardstock for my little round button is what I need. I decide where I'm going to put it. There it is. I'm going to put it there. I decide I'm going to put it in, be able to put in the side. And I'm thinking about, okay, where do I want to put the little tabby thing? So now I've punched a hole in my envelope and I'm punching a hole in my little button thing, and I'm going to use a brad. And for some unknown reason, that brad was very ornery. It would not open. That's one of the reasons why Lisa put hers in the flap and I put mine in the envelope instead. So I end up having to take it out, open it a little bit, and then put it back in. And the other thing is when you have one of those brads on the inside of your envelope, if you don't cover up the brad, it can grab hold of your skin trying to put something in or out of there. So, and here's where I'm going to attach my string. I know I want my string to come from the top, and I've been using 2 layers of the. Oh, let me explain. Okay, that's folded in half. So what I've done is put glue down, put a little glue tabby down. It's just another little circle, and folded the string up over it. So this little circle thing helps to hold my, it's waxed linen. I can't think of what I'm going to say. Waxed linen. It helps to hold my waxed linen in place. And now I'm going to glue the pocket in. And there again, I'm going to use double-sided tape and glue mixed. And I'm only putting it on 2 sides, the side and bottom, so that I can have an open side. I think on that one to the left. One of the really nice things about that art glitter glue, if you get that little metal tip, it comes out tiny, nice little thing. Oh, I decided I needed a little circle. Oh, didn't punch deep enough. Took a lot for some reason to get that hole punched out of there, and then I got kind of a deep one, but that was all right. Yes, I finally went and got one of the little round pads. It's chewed up already too, so I don't know. I forgot to ink my little circle before I put it on. All right, we're getting there. These are the 2 pockets that I Mod Podged, and I had thought about offsetting them and leaving them where you could get to the side. Then I decided, nope, I'm putting them down, solid down, and I just decided just glue will do because I'm not going to put them in on the side. So I just glued them down. Since I was gluing the whole piece, not just an edge, the glue was plenty good enough. And by layering that pocket, it gave me a similar look to my pages. So I was happy with it. Okay, I decided I wanted a tab on that outside page. It wasn't about the size of the tab or anything. It was just that I wanted a tab. So now what happens is that page does end up a little narrow. And if I had thought about it, I would have put something else on that page, but it's all right. It's a little bit narrower by the width of the tab. Okay, we got around the corners, and then of course we better ink it. Okay. Apparently what's going on right now is that parts of my things are drying, so I decided to go ahead and stick this into the book. You want to make sure you leave the bottom of your slot open so that your piece can slip in, but I did glue down right above the bottom slot because that's the bottom of the top's pocket, if that makes any sense at all. You'll see me put glue on it here in a minute and it'll make a little more sense. Right there, that forms the bottom of the top pocket. So you do have to put some glue in the middle to make the top pocket have a bottom. And then we're going to put it down. Oops, went down crooked. Oops, went down in the wrong spot. Luckily, the glue helped it to come off a little. It hadn't stuck completely. Now it's stuck. I'm happy with where it's at. Stick it down really good. There's my pocket. And I think I put some weight on it for a while. And then I went back to this. This is where I'm just trimming up all the places where I have glued pages to it. And that's my slanted pocket. And see, I just trimmed them off. And in a minute, when I layer it up, you'll see the difference. It really made a big difference in how that pocket looked. And I'm very happy with it now. It also added some weight to that paper. Those pages weren't very heavy. Lisa's using book paper that had some weight to it, and these didn't. There we go. See, and now it makes me happy the way it looks. So those are two new pockets, and of course, I rounded the bottom corners on that layered pocket. And of course, then we got to ink. And I don't think I make you watch the whole thing yet. All right, so now we're gonna get ready and glue that little flappy pocket up. And I put that in again just as a side, so I only put the bottom and one side down. And I put it in right there on top. A little piece of paper coming up. Okay, now we're going to put our little angled waterfall pocket in. And on this one, you've got three sides that are connected. So you need to do both sides and the bottom. And see, that barely fits. And I did have to trim it a little bit over my original papers because I had forgotten when I cut that tab off that it was going to make that spot narrower. If I'd have realized that, I'd have put something that was narrower on that page. But it's all right. This one came out just real pretty. I'm real pleased with how it came out. I was not happy with it all white. One more piece. Oh, no, there's two more pieces. See how layering those other book pages on it just made me so much happier. So there we have all our pockets. Yay! Okay, guys, go have fun. Make some art.